BTS News Today. Incheon Airport on the afternoon of the 19th initially looked like any ordinary day, at least until a soft rumor began drifting from the far end of the international departures hall. Reporter Kim Miru, who was usually calm and composed, appeared unusually tense as she checked her phone, reading a message from a trusted airport staff member. Outside the long glass building that reflected the winter sunlight, a few cameras had already begun to gather, even though no entertainment agency had made any official announcements. Many were still wondering if any major artist was scheduled to arrive or depart that day. But photographers always have sharp instincts, and today the air felt different, heavier, as if announcing the arrival of someone extraordinary. It didn't take long before the entire atmosphere shifted. The automatic glass door on the left side of the terminal slid open, and from the glowing light behind it, a slim man in an all-black hoodie emerged with confident, quick strides. At first glance, he might have seemed like an ordinary young man, simple, casual, dressed entirely in black, trying not to attract attention. But it took only 2 seconds to realize that nothing about him was ordinary. The sharp jawline, the way he slightly bowed his head to shield himself from the camera flashes, the steady posture, and most striking of all, the clear, bright eyes peeking out from beneath his mask and hoodie. It was Jungkook, the golden magne of BTS, the owner of a voice that shakes the world's biggest stages, a man who could silence an entire airport with just one step. And today he arrived for one purpose: to depart for Paris, France, after completing an overseas schedule that his agency still kept tightly hidden. Camera flashes exploded instantly, yet Jungkook walked with calm, steady rhythm. His dark, trendy aura seemed to shift the energy of the entire airport, transforming it from a public space into something resembling a high-end runway. Every subtle movement, adjusting his mask, pulling his hoodie slightly lower over his wavy black hair, or glancing sideways with those round, lucid eyes, looked natural yet impossibly cinematic, the kind of effortless grace only Jungkook possessed. His all-black outfit looked simple, yet it made a statement. A thick black hoodie, loose-cut pants that moved with him, and sleek black sneakers that made each step precise and quiet. He wore no flashy accessories, no silver necklaces, no large rings, but that very simplicity made him stand out even more. Even veteran photographers who saw idols every day were stunned by how strong Jungkook's presence felt that afternoon. Some fans who had been waiting since morning held their breath as he walked past. There were no loud screams like usual. Everyone seemed to instinctively give him space, respecting the tranquil atmosphere he brought with him. Only the sound of cameras clicking and his footsteps echoed across the hall. Even from a distance, reporter Kim Miru sensed something different. There was a seriousness, warm but undeniably deep, in the way Jungkook carried himself. As he walked toward the gate, there was a brief moment when his eyes locked onto a camera directly in front of him, and for that split second time seemed to stop. Those bright eyes, visible between his hoodie and mask, held something profound, a mixture of fatigue, determination, and mystery that made anyone looking feel a sudden curiosity. It wasn't the gaze of an idol at the airport. It was the gaze of a man hiding something behind his quiet composure. Still, he showed no awkwardness. He gave a small nod toward the cameras, a subtle sign that he acknowledged and appreciated their presence, even though he didn't stop to pose. There was no big fan service that day, no tiny finger hearts, no long waves, but that simplicity made the moment more intense and unforgettable. After passing security, rumors erupted instantly. What overseas schedule had he just completed? Why did he choose such a muted yet powerful look? Why did he seem more serious than usual? Why hadn't HYBE confirmed his departure? And above all, what exactly was he going to do in Paris? Armies online immediately launched their own investigations. Some believed he was heading to film a new music video, given the swirling rumors of his solo comeback. Others speculated this was related to a major fashion brand, reportedly courting Jungkook as their next global ambassador. A few even suspected he was attending a secret meeting, fitting the mysterious pattern that often appears right before BTS surprises the public with big news. And yet, no one knew for sure. The only confirmed fact was this: Jungkook was on his way to Paris, and that alone was enough to make the world turn its eyes toward him. After clearing security, Jungkook paused momentarily. He adjusted his hoodie, took a quiet breath, and gazed through the large airport window. The Incheon evening sky was painted in soft orange hues, and his silhouette reflected faintly in the glass. Something about the scene felt cinematic, maybe because of its simplicity, maybe because of the subtle tension he was hiding, or maybe because, for the first time in weeks, Jungkook looked like someone preparing for a new chapter in his life. When he finally moved toward the boarding gate, reporter Kim Miryu took careful mental notes. She knew this was no ordinary departure. This was the beginning of something bigger, something not yet visible to the public eye. And true enough, as the plane carrying Jungkook departed for Paris, the world began to shift. Twitter exploded with related hashtags. Fans in Paris mobilized toward Charles de Gaulle Airport, and international media started speculating about the purpose of his visit. HYBE's silence only intensified the buzz. When the plane landed in Paris, the atmosphere was no less dramatic. The sharp but warm winter daylight of the city washed over Jungkook as he exited the international arrivals gate. His appearance was nearly identical: black hoodie, mask, quiet footsteps, but the European air made him look different, like a global star entering the next phase of his extraordinary career. Fans in Paris shouted his name, but he maintained his calm demeanor. He lifted a hand slightly to greet them, sending a wave of emotion through the waiting crowd. Those who had been standing since morning didn't expect him to acknowledge them at all, given his discreet appearance. But that was Jungkook. He always knew when to offer something small yet meaningful. Behind the mask, many speculated he was smiling, and perhaps he was, because after a few more steps, he paused and gave the crowd one more look, as if saving the moment in his memory. Paris awaited. The world awaited. And Jungkook, wrapped in his quiet, dark aura, walked towards something big. What will happen next? No one knows, but one thing is certain. Every step Jungkook took that day, from Incheon to Paris, marked the beginning of something that would once again shake the fandom to its core. Paris has always had a way of turning anyone into the main character of their own film, and Jungkook's first night in the city was no exception. After leaving the airport, he was escorted by a black car with tinted windows into the heart of the city. The lights of Paris reflected softly against the glass, casting moving patterns across his face as the car slipped through the evening traffic. He sat quietly, leaning his head slightly toward the window, allowing the majestic cityscape to blur past him like frames from a silent movie. No HYBE staff or managers seemed to be traveling with him, adding to the already mysterious air surrounding his trip. It was as if Jungkook was moving alone on a mission that only he himself understood. From the outside he looked calm, almost too calm, but up close something was different. There was a subtle tension in his fingers as they played absently with the cuff of his hoodie, a controlled breath he held a little too long, an alertness in his eyes as he studied the road as if expecting something, or someone. The car finally pulled up in front of a luxurious hotel known for hosting the world's most elite celebrities. And yet, despite the paparazzi waiting outside, Jungkook slipped out of the car with such quiet speed that cameras barely caught a clear shot. He moved through the hotel entrance like a passing shadow, visible for only a second before disappearing entirely. Photographers were left bewildered, scanning their screens only to find blurred frames. They couldn't even tell how he managed to slip past them so cleanly.